Well, hello, and it's a new morning. Oh, yes, I slept quite well last night, and it hasn't gone away. Uh, but it's Friday, and I'm allowed a little leeway, aren't I? Yes, indeed, I am. A little leeway to yawn a bit and to look as if I'm washed out from the week. I bloody am washed out for the week. The funny thing is that anything to do with technology, but particularly television, is when things go wrong, they go wrong, and mightily, which they did yesterday. We managed to scrape through, but only just by the skin of our teeth. But I think we got. I think I got it sorted again today. And I speak too soon, but let's cross our fingers. Now, in just about 40 minutes, we've got the two V's coming up, and they take us behind the scenes at the Crown Courts, as well as having a little go at each other. And I'm happy to say that we enjoy them, and you enjoy them because you let us know that you have. Hey, so let's. I'm trying to ease my way into the day. It's not always possible with everything that's going on, but let's do what we normally do, and that is take a look at the headlines in the newspapers. Just to see what we got to contend with. Oh dear, dear. Talk about. I'm glad tomorrow is Saturday. I say that. Then I find all sorts of things to do, of course. Get a conscience if I haven't done them. So one day is much like another. Anyway, let's go to The Guardian. Sunak puts car drivers first in new election battle lines. And basically, The Guardian reports that Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is set to use the Conservative Party conference, which gets underway on Sunday, to set out a series of policies intended to appeal to car owners. The measures would include restrictions on the power of English councils to introduce 20 mile per hour speed zones and put limits on the number of hours a day that car traffic is banned from bus lanes. There is a picture of a lone sycamore tree. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And we reached that in a headline in one of the papers. The Daily Telegraph. Sunak to block new 20 mile per hour zones. And there's a picture of the girl who was killed in Croydon stabbing. The changes will also include a scaling back of low traffic neighborhoods and measures to make it easier for drivers to challenge parking fines. The paper notes that the policies, come in the wake of the Tories' surprise victory in the Uxbridge and South Ruislip by-election, a win widely attributed to council committee concerns among voters about the expansion of London's controversial ultra-low emission zones. Same theme. The Times. diversity of opinion, as Sunak says he's proud of multicultural UK. Tory shift to higher taxes may never be reversed. The Times leads with analysis by the Institute of Fiscal Studies, which says Britain is making a decisive and permanent shift to a higher tax economy. The paper says the IFS found that tax rises introduced by the Conservatives since the last election will be equivalent of 3,500 trillions. That's some rise, I must say. The Express. Prime Minister faces call to ditch European courts. The paper says Sunak also faces mounting pressure from some of his own MPs to tell the European Court of Human Rights that the UK will withdraw unless it commits to major reforms. Earlier reports said Downing Street had authorised Home Secretary Suella Braverman to float the prospect of leaving the court in a speech on Tuesday as a warning shot to the court not to block plans to deport asylum seekers in the UK to Rwanda. Looks as if it's been thwarted. Here we go. Back to private schools. The Eye reveals plans to use a loophole to avoid Labour's VAT charge. The Eye says private schools have a plan to avoid paying 20% VAT if it is imposed by the present government. The paper says the schools are urging parents to pay their fees in advance on the assumption that those payments would still be exempt. Right. Spend your retirement getting paid regularly. The Mirror. Our lovely girl went to school and never came home. There's a picture of Eliane Andam, the 15-year-old girl killed in a stabbing in Croydon, South London. The paper says Eliane's devastated family paid tribute to her at the scene of the attack on Thursday night and quotes her aunt saying she went to school and didn't come back. The Sun. Schoolgirl stabbing. Feminist tears for tragic Eliane, age 15. Those are some of the main headlines. We'll go back there in a moment or two. It's a mixed bag this morning. No story really seems to dominate over the others, which is quite different to what's happened in the week, because we've had some stories that have been widely supported, and not least which is this business of car proliferation and how to handle it. Yeah, really. Oh dear. Yeah, we one or two other newspapers. The Daily Mail. It concentrates on the cutting down of a 300-year-old sycamore, which grows or did grow until yesterday, a gap in Hadrian's Wall. And this is a touch of mindless vandalism, says the Daily Mail. The paper notes that the tree feature in 1991 blockbusters, anyway, the paper notes that the tree featured in a 1991 blockbuster, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Yes, I saw that movie, and describes it as among the most most photographed trees in the world. The FT, OpenAI, in talks with IVE and SoftBank to design ChatGPT's first creators device. That's a bit top complicated, I think. The Star, shock paranormal news that's taken us all a bit by surprise is a demon from hell tries to murder Sharon Osbourne, and the Sun, Jack reveals spooky brush and wash up that is going to put a bit more oomph into what we're talking about. Yes, I mean, the whole thing smacks of TGIF, doesn't it? Hey, it does. It does. The time is now 8:15. Yeah. And Mark is busy making sure all the equipment is working so that we can pass on some of the programming to you. Ooh, there we go. You got to forgive me for yawning in your face, as it were. But when you've got to yawn, you've got to yawn. Let's try it. What am I? Let's see. Oh yes, I was going to look for the weather. And it's been surprisingly mild, and the temperatures look as if they're going to hold up. And today it's going to hit 20 degrees again. Tomorrow will be 19. Sunday will be 21. Monday 22, and then it settles down to 9 and 8 over their political views. But there's no question it's going to be very, very pleasant. It had a little sprinkle this morning. It tells us what to expect if you walk outside. All right. It's 8:17. Not a bad day outside. A few things that have been going on, but I'm finding it difficult to concentrate this morning. I better look you in the eye. We shouldn't be this way, but it is. Dozy Keith is not actually pulling his weight this morning, and I was going to have people come after us. Actually, I went to an opera show, not live, last night by all those people who helped the Tories to formulate its tax policy, and now they've hit a long commitment group, which we've been agitating for. And I've forgotten where I was with what I was saying now, but that's the trouble when you go down too many avenues and don't go back to the right one. All right. What did we say that we were? I don't even see. It's going to be lifted. Never mind. I think we'll just stick with me for 5 minutes. Then I'm going to go and find out who's around. Who's around? To see what comment we might have on this morning. A comment from here, from around the world, from even heavenly bodies in space. I finding it, as I say, difficult to fish. No, it's not. I'm not a fisherman. I have no idea why I said that. It just shows the shocking state that I'm in as I wake up to a world full of surprises. I wake up on a Monday morning, and those people who would like to drop by and say hello or make a comment or whatever at Mirador is very welcome. So there you go, chapter 6. Just having a little wonder there. I can't keep on keeping you floating around, can I? Like this? Let's just. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. We'll play just a couple of intros, shall we? Just to keep everything alive and to remind you who we are. Huh. So there you go. That's who we are. And we looking forward to, in 10 minutes' time, I'm going to contact them in 10 minutes' time. to the two Bs, the two barristers, who as usual, will take a look behind the scenes, and while giving one another a bad time. Nothing terribly spectacular coming up, for in my view, to really intrigue us this morning. They got a big splash on the front pages, but not untoward. Nothing that's dynamic, nothing that's going to make us wish that we wouldn't get out of bed tomorrow morning. Do you know, one of the things that I like to do is to keep our minds concentrated on things that we've started, and then it looks as if we're not going to finish. Believe me, this one we have got our eye on, because we don't want the opportunity to honour Stephen and Kathleen go by.
Hello, here we are at what was Pinwell Lane. It ran up through here to the top of the High Street. It became closed off some years ago, and this land is now called Manorial Waste. And we have to thank Every, the great Lewis ironmaster, for bringing the gateway from the Grey Friars Franciscan Priory here. This is the only bit that remains. The Premier Inn is now on the site and had been a railway station before. This is the much vaunted Secret Garden. Until just a few years ago, it was covered in weeds, brambles, and goodness knows what else. I suggested to the friends of Lewis that it would be better, considering its location behind this ancient gateway, if we could cultivate it a bit. And aided by Jane Tyra and Gillian Ross, I've managed to turn it into this. I'm somewhat embarrassed to say a lot of people keep coming to take photos of it. And I can see there's an overturned pot I must rescue. But here we are. This is one of the better examples of the fruits of my labours. And I hope it gives you pleasure. Thank you. And this, the family burial place of William Edwin and Anne Baxter. And dear little Emily in amongst the undergrowth somewhere. The hollyhocks will be butchered this week. but it is rather nice, bizarre colours matching exactly how Victorian colour printing was done. But it will get a tidy up this week, I promise, because it'll be me that does it. Oh, and the bees. I'm so pleased to see bees and butterflies around here. There is one feeding. Isn't that wonderful? There's one bee I've saved. It's easy to get lost in the middle of this. Edwin and Anne Baxter and dear little Emily in amongst the undergrowth somewhere. The hollyhocks will be butchered this week, but it is rather nice, the bizarre colours matching exactly how Victorian colour printing was done. But it will get a tidy up this week, I promise, because it'll be me that does it. Oh, and the bees. I'm so pleased to see bees and butterflies around here. There is one feeding. Isn't that wonderful? There's one bee I've saved. It's easy to get lost in the middle of this. See, zinnias, nearly 3 foot tall, they're only supposed to grow a foot. Must have been a good horse. So much colour. Well, I don't think death should be sombre, it should always be a bit bright and jolly. We'll just move this. Let the colour radiate. That's it. It looks good from the other end, don't it? Like all shows, backstage is not so pretty. Mind the bricks behind you.
Here we go. It's all a bit hit and miss at the moment, but it's okay. It's okay. Now, what's the time? It's 8:34, and so I'm going to take a very brief pause, and then a return, and eventually with the 2Bs.